says, how can he have a son when he doesn't have a mate? So, and he's the creator of the heavens and the earth, and yada, yada, yada. So this demonstrates that in order for Allah to have a son, he would need a mate to have a son with. So that's why I was saying it's not that crazy when it says that if Allah had willed to take an offspring, to have offspring, that he could have chosen from whatever he created, that this is talking about him having a partner to have a son with.
All right. So in the meantime, while you were gone, I did open up the tafsir for the verse for 39:4.
39:4, okay.
And I'm just gonna.
Which one?
Tafsir al-Mizan.
Nizam, who's that?
I'm a Shia, that's why. So.
Oh, you're a Shia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, go ahead. What do you say?
So that's like our main one, basically. It's like the Ibn Kathir.
Okay. Thank you for that. I didn't know that.
So, it summarizes, it makes two main points. First off, it says that, by God, by offspring, it appears that it's meant merely as an honorific status rather than a metaphysical one. That was the first point made. And the second point made was the word that was used at the beginning for had it been, though. It is a conditional clause used to show an impossibility. So those were the 2 points that were made.
Yeah, so there's it doesn't make sense to me if I'm going to critically think about that. I hear what he's saying. It says, had it been, or if Allah had willed to do this, it says he could. So it doesn't seem like it's an impossibility when it explicitly says he could do it if he wanted to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't really add up to me. But as far as like an honorific title or like having an honorific relationship with him, again, I don't see that based on the text, but I do understand that is an interpretation. It's an interpretation. I think you can go either way. My thing is, like, even if let's say that this is only talking like figuratively, like you're his offspring or his son in a figurative sense, not that you are begotten from him. In 6:101, it demonstrates that Allah could have a son if he had a mate. But
I feel like there's a difference between saying he could have a son if he had a mate, and saying that he doesn't have a mate and he also won't have a son because he doesn't have a mate. So I feel like there's a big difference between saying he could have a mate and the reason that he doesn't have a son is because he doesn't have that mate, and saying that he, I'm sorry, it's...
Well, let's think through this really quick. So it says, how can, right, meaning, so it's talking about his ability.
Yeah.
How can he have a son when he doesn't have a mate? Right? So this is saying that Allah can't have a son unless he has a mate to have a son with. So,
but there's a difference between saying, unless and because. I feel like this verse doesn't explicitly give the possibility of him having a mate. It's just showing how unlogical the idea of him having a son is.
Well, I can agree that it's not saying that it's necessarily possible for him to have a mate, or that he will have a mate or whatever. Yeah. But it's highlighting whether or not he can have a son by himself or not. It's saying that he would need a mate to do it. Now, is it possible for him to have a mate? Probably not. Who knows? Probably not. Which is why he can't have a son. That's what I would say. That it's impossible for him to have a mate, therefore it's impossible for him to have a son, because he can't have a mate.
So, would you claim that these two verses explicitly show that Allah does have the ability of having a son? Would you claim that?
I would, yes. At least chapter 6, verse 101, 39:4. Yeah, I would say that.
Yes, but you would also agree that there are interpretations that would resolve the issue.
I don't think the interpretation resolves it if it goes against what the text says. That's my issue. Like, I can hear an interpretation, right? If it doesn't line up with what is being said, like, for example, what you shared earlier, the interpretation that this is a conditional impossibility, it literally says explicitly he could do it if he wanted. So it's not impossible. So that's an interpretation that, like, literally contradicts the text. So I'm saying that there are interpretations. I don't think that they're valid.
Yeah. Okay. But would you say I just want to focus on the interpretation, the one that makes the most sense to me, which was that it's an honorific status. That's the interpretation I don't want to focus on, because the other ones don't really make that much sense, like the conditional, impossibility, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You'd say that, like, so can you, like, tell me why the interpretation is false, that it's an honorific status?
Sure, because this is talking about an offspring. The word walid is used as a physical son, or like a literal son. That's how it's used throughout the Quran. Walid, it's your actual son. So to suddenly say, oh well, this is actually being used as honorific, doesn't really make sense. It's ad hoc. It's out of nowhere. Secondly, the context is Allah is he's refuting this idea that he has children. Like, they're saying he has children in both contexts. In chapter 39, verse 4, and 6:101, if you read the verses prior and after, he's addressing people who are saying he has children, right? So, and when he says it, this is his rebuttal. His rebuttal is, if Allah had willed to take a son, he could have chosen from whatever he created, whatever he willed. But exalted is he above that, right? He is Allah, the one prevailing. So he's above doing that. This is his rebuttal. So saying that this is just an honorific title or position someone can have is not. It doesn't match with the context, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, fair point. I have to do more research on it. I'm ignorant on the matter, so that's a good point. And then, let's say we did move on from that premise. What's the next premise that would continue the debate?
Absolutely. So the next premise is that, he can't have a son by himself. He would need help to do it, which would mean he's not all-powerful, and therefore not God.
Okay, got it. So the line of reasoning would be that he has the ability to create a son. But then 6:101 says that he doesn't have a mate and therefore he can't have a son, meaning Correct. That he needs to make that son.
Correct.
Okay, fair point. I'd have to look into that. I'm gonna be honest, I'm ignorant on the matter.
Sure.
Definitely have to look into, like, the context of all the verses. I don't want to take up too much time from the stream and whatnot.
No, bro, this is what we do this for, man. We try to find honest people we can talk to and build with, you know. So, with somebody like you've come humbly, you know what I'm saying. You're being reasonable. I could talk to somebody like you all day and any day. So I'm serious, man. You'll see if I don't know if you're gonna stick around and watch the.
I will. I definitely will.
Okay, well, you're going to see what I have to deal with on a daily basis, man. But yeah, so is that all you wanted, or did you want to ask about Jesus?
It was, and then because that was the first part, Allah of Islam is God, and then the second part was Jesus is the God of the Bible, or Jesus is the Most High.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm also basing this argument on, there's two proofs for Jesus or the God of the Bible not being the Most High. The first one was based on the description in Isaiah 40:28. The point that I wanted to give is that there were two criteria in Isaiah 40:28. One was that he doesn't grow tired or weary, and the second was that his understanding is infinite. His knowledge is infinite. So my counter against that was Genesis 9:13-15, which was the covenant of the rainbow in order to remind God, and there could be a deeper meaning to this that I don't know of. So if you want to enlighten me, sure. But basically what I would say is that if God did need reminding, provided in these verses from Genesis 9 from 13 to 15, then it would contradict two of the criterias given in Isaiah 40:28. One, that his knowledge is infinite, because if you need reminding, then your knowledge isn't truly infinite at all times. And two, that the not growing weary, because if you need reminding, then your knowledge grows weary. So those would be that. That's basically the first proof for the God of the Bible not being Most High.
Yeah. So interesting. So in Genesis 9, when it talks about how God is going to remember the promise He makes by the sign of the rainbow, right? It's figurative speech communicating God's promise and design, how He will always remember. Like, for example, there's verses in the Bible that says how God is going to forgive your sins, wipe away your sins, and remember them no more, right? That doesn't mean that He forgot what you did. It's just that it's not going to count against you anymore, right? So in the same way, this promise as a reminder is just a concrete stance with God that He'll never flood the earth again. Not that He forgot what He said He's not going to do. It's just emphasizing His promise.
Okay, so you just say it's figurative, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
The interpretation would be that it's figurative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
like anthropomorphic language, like being applied to God.
That's a big word. Can you repeat it?
Anthropomorphic language, like when you, like if I said like my car was mad at me today, it slowed down on the road, you know.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Like cars don't get mad.
Okay, so yeah, it was basically figured that's the interpretation for it. Got it. Understood.
Does that make sense though? Does it flow? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it flows. And then also, because a thought just randomly like appeared, I wasn't thinking about it before, but you said that walad was like the word for offspring.
Yeah, offspring or son, like
yeah.
an actual.
So
yeah.
The word ibn, which literally means the son of, like when the Quran says Bani Israel, the children of Israel, which is Jacob. The word ibn is more so used as like literal son. The word walad, I feel like, could be used as either, while ibn is like the definite 100% biological literal.
Well, how about this? How about the next time you come, let's explore that and see what we find.
Fair enough. I'll do research on that. Also, do you like post your schedules like ahead of time?
Yeah, so I'm live so you'll if you go to my like actual